Hi everybody, I'm Ratana. I'm the voice of Leonie on Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and I'm here with Anime Impulse. Well, yesterday I just went to a Taiwanese place called Joy, which I really enjoy. No pun intended. I do love the OG Din Tai Fung out here in the SGV. I just got to do something really bougie that I had wanted to do for a really long time. So for my birthday, I took a bunch of friends and we went to French Laundry. And if you guys look that up, that is like a 3-hour dinner experience, 16 courses of food and wine and all sorts of crazy stuff. It's not cheap, but it was a lot of fun. And you know, then I go back home and I go get ramen and pho. So I'm slightly biased. I think the Golden Deer would win. I also think we would have the most fun. We're competitive, but like we're a little goofy. And I think we would be the ones who are like helping each other finish at the last minute. My favorite part of Great British Bake Off is like when somebody's kind of struggling at the end and then another baker comes running in and is like, here, I will help you zhuzh your cupcakes. Here, let's go. And then they present it and, you know, everybody's like, oh, we all did a thing together and, you know, it's competitive but friendly. Golden Deer for the win. I thought about this one and I'm like, I was a dorky teenager who didn't want to be a dork, but I had a bad perm and I had braces. I was a theater nerd and a choir jock. I'm pretty sure I would not have been anywhere. They wouldn't, like none of the schools would have thought I was cool enough to join their class, but I probably would have ended up somewhere between the Blue Lions and the Golden Deer, and I can't choose, because I think there was that like sort of emo side of me, and then there was also that like super dorky, like come on, let's just have fun and like go play. And then also I like to nap a lot, so really I just would have been in the Linhart School of everything.
I'm off to nap.
We'll never find it unless you're there. If you're really that tired, we'll just have to carry you.
Let's see. I am a medium gardener. I finally kept a plant alive after many, many years of trying to and failing hard. So my mother in the family has the green thumb. I have a black thumb. And I finally kept a tiny little succulent alive for more than a year, and I feel like I have won. I do not fish, mostly because I'm allergic to fish. Sorry, all sushi lovers out there. I like being active. So those are things that I think we all have in common. And then for myself, I like to run and go dancing, and like I like to stay active, but like I don't go to the gym. I'm not a CrossFit person, so you won't find me anywhere near any of those things. But I just like to go out and hang with my friends, do things where I can be social and also like get some exercise. I used to tell this story that when you take that like presidential fitness test that they make you take in high school, I would do the least amount you needed to do in order to pass the thing, except for the mile, the timed mile. I'm just like, screw you all, I hate life. And I took 26 minutes to go 4 times around the track. I mean, you can watch an entire episode of television in 26 minutes. So my gym teacher was not happy with me. It is the very first D I have ever brought home. First and only. My parents were really proud of me that day. Finishing marathons. Actually, the beer after the marathon is the best. So I've run 3 marathons. I'm actually officially retired from the full marathon. But I do love running because I think it's great, it's active. And when you run by yourself, that's sort of my meditation time, that's my zen. I can just zone out and like think and dream and do stuff. And when I run with my friends, again, it's just active and social, and we catch up with each other. And we live in Southern California, so I get to run on the beach, and that's really pretty, and you know, it's a nice way to just start the day. So that's what I love, the beer after the marathon. It's, you know, that is a beer you have earned. I was literally told by a physical therapist, like, you do not have a body made for running. And when somebody tells me no, I'm all like, yeah, watch me. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's go sign up for half marathon. And so I did it, and I didn't die, and that was the whole point. And then afterwards I realized, okay, well then afterwards, you run for a couple of hours, and then you can eat whatever you want. And then you can have a beer, and you can just like chill out. You've earned it. You can justify all calories after running 13 or 26 miles. The lactic acid, after a while, you're just like, okay, everything hurts. I just have to make like that next mile marker or that next tree or whatever it is. I will crawl across the finish line, but I'm gonna finish. Do I think I could keep up with Leonie's training regimen? That's a word. Yeah, hell no. That girl's a beast. I would probably start with her, and I could probably keep up for the first 5 minutes, and she'd go, "That's a great warm-up. Now let's really train." And then I'd be like, "Okay, I'm out. Who wants to get coffee?" Like, you think about Olympic athletes, and they probably train at that level all the time. 5 in the morning before school, then go do a full day, and then finish up. I don't know when do you sleep? I'll get up early to go running and stuff, but for me, it's just, now it's maintenance. You know, I'm just going because it feels good to get out there and run, and that's how I like to start my day. And then, you know, I go and do stuff, but there's no now there's no pressure on it. I'm not trying to beat anybody. I don't need to PR. I have my medals, I'm happy. And now it's like, okay, well, whatever. I'm gonna go and feel good and then go do the other things, have my life. They're both very strong women, but they're strong for different reasons. When you go into the booth for either of these characters, like, we didn't have a whole lot of information. You just kind of go with what's on the paper and what the director will tell you. For Ishtar, Wendy Lee was directing us for that game, and she just gave me some of her backstory and like who her relationships were and kind of what had happened in her life. You build her strength from there. She's a thunder goddess. I mean, first of all, hello, cool power. Second of all, I think she's a woman who has some regrets. So she's maybe made some choices that weren't the best, but they were the best that she thought of at the time. And so you just kind of play what's on the page to that emotion. For Leonie, I think she comes from a very different place. She was more like, a little bit like Alexander Hamilton. You know, the town supported her and helped her go off to college or to Garreg Mach. And now she feels responsible to her community to, you know, pay them back and do right by them and also do right by her mentor. So that's a very different motivation because she's also, I think, younger, you know, when she starts. You kind of have to play that as well. So that's sort of how you kind of balance those two and play them differently. I have a lot of mentors from a lot of different spaces in my world. I think my first and foremost one is my mother. She came here, immigrant, started over with like really nothing, and then built a career and a family, raised, you know, 2 kids in the United States. Not easy thing to do, especially because we're very American. She did it, and both of us were hopefully mostly contributing adults to society. So hopefully we've done her proud. So she's my first mentor. She's the one who taught me you can start with nothing and create something out of that. For voiceover in particular, I think Dolores Steele was one of my first teachers. She is no longer with us, but she came up during the days of radio. And so she would tell these stories about having worked with Bob Hope. And she was like blind as a bat, but there was nothing wrong with her ears, and she was in her 90s. When I was taking classes with her. And what I loved about that was all of the discipline and the knowledge that she gave us and that history. I feel like you kind of absorb that being in the room with her. And then over the years, like, other teachers have sort of been my mentor as well. I look at Susan Blue and Cynthia Sanjay were some of my first teachers and mentors in animation. Joyce Castellanos taught me promos. There were so many people that I learned from and just kind of admired. On the business side of things, I got mentors from books. So Tom Peters was one of my favorite things to read. I know this sounds really dorky, you guys. I like to read business books for fun. You know, you learn things from how people think. I think you can find a mentor anywhere. If you go to the library, you can find a mentor on any bookshelf. Probably the biggest lesson that I've learned. There are 2 stories I'm gonna share. One of them is Come From Away is right now one of my favorite shows that's out there. It's a 1-act, so you don't have to commit too long. It's less than 2 hours. It tells the story of what happened to the airplanes that were in the middle of the sky when 9/11 happened. And so it sounds really dark, but it's actually beautiful and uplifting, and it's really about literally the kindness of strangers. I have seen the show a couple of times. I saw it here in LA, and then I saw it in San Francisco, and I almost saw it a 3rd time when I was in London. It's just that good. It's not like your typical, you're gonna leave humming a bunch of tunes show, but you will leave feeling so good about your fellow humanity that it's just, you know, it just makes your heart happy. Highly recommend it. Go see it if it's in your town. The other experience that I had was I got to surprise my mom and take her to see Hamilton in London. I love the show Hamilton. I've also seen that one twice. We happened to be in London, and it was our last night in town. You know, we'd sort of done all of the tourist things, and we'd seen shows all week, and my mom was feeling kind of tired, and I was like, Mom, are you up for one more adventure? She's like, sure. So we go in the standby line, at the theater where Hamilton is playing in the West End, and we wait online. Like, we go get coffee, we hang out. It's a little chilly because it's spring. We're hanging out for like an hour or so, and then they come and clear the line. The guy comes out and he's like, well, we have 4 tickets available. It's a box seat. Here's the price, do you want them? And I'm like, yes. So I treated my mom to the producer's box at Hamilton in London. And I will never, ever, ever be able to surpass this gift. This is my good daughter duty for like the rest of my life, because we go in there, we sit down, and a butler knocks on the door and offers to take our drink order. Like, she gets to see the show, and it's literally like from me looking to you, I can see straight to the stage. So it was like the perfect sightline. I will never top this gift. I am done. There was a project that I did a while ago where I think it was a commercial. I was in the booth here in LA and they were on the phone from wherever the agency was. You could tell there just were a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Too many cooks, too many cooks.
So I would get conflicting stuff like, can you make it happier, but make this word less angry or less sad? And then, can you make that sad word less sad, kind of happy, but not as happy as the happy word? My brain starts like worrying and ticking and going, okay, this doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure if I'm giving them what they want. I don't know how to parse this, so I'm just gonna listen, take in the advice, say thank you, do the best thing that I can do, and hopefully they get what they need. I think that's probably the weirdest direction that I've gotten, is when it conflicts. I've heard stories of people like, can you make it a little more like butter pecan or a little more whatever? Sometimes like I'll have friends who will direct me in things and they'll be like, okay, so imagine you're on a roller coaster and now the roller coaster goes down the hill. Like, what do you do? Now you're going up the hill. Like, do it like you're in a roller coaster going up the hill. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what that sounds like, so let's just do the best that you can and play with it and have fun, and hopefully at the end of the day they get the take that they want, and if not, you get a fun story to tell afterwards. Okay, first of all, Patrick Seitz is amazing. We love Patrick. We just have fun in the booth. Like, I really love being directed by him. It's fun to go to work with your friends. It's like the best feeling. I think when we were workshopping and figuring out who Leonie was, I loved how both he and we had, I think, a couple of the writers from Nintendo in the room at the time. And so they were describing her to me, where she come from and what's her philosophy and all of these things that we kind of take in. And I think I was trying to distill it, so I would parrot it back and I'm like, okay, so she's kind of like Hermione Granger and Joan of Arc.
I never will!
And so that was nice. I think it's just the collaboration, we're all like laughing and having a good time, but it's just like being able to feel safe that you can have that conversation and like do it and know that they're not gonna be like, no, that's not what I was thinking. What are you, stupid? No, they're like, yeah, no, I think that's right. Or like, no, let's try this thing. Maybe she's not so much Hermione Granger as she is, I don't know, Rory Gilmore.
I realized last night that at this rate, I will never finish all the work I have to do.
What work? We kind of figure that out and do it together, but he's just amazing to collaborate with, so thanks, Patrick. 5,691 at least. I don't know. She really respects her mentor. I'm sorry, Blue Lions, you would lose all the time because Detroit Lions. Voice acting is, oh gosh, it's just a way to tell stories in a very personal way. The one thing that we have that's uniquely ours is our voice and our experience and our point of view. Nobody can take that away from you. When we get to lend our voice to another character to help bring them to life, for me, it's the biggest gift. Like, to be able to help tell that person's story in a way that only I can help tell that story is so meaningful to me, and I'm so grateful that I get to do it. To me, that's life, that's passion, that's just like, wow, I get to go do this thing, and you guys are gonna listen, and we're all gonna have fun together doing it? Holy crap, mind blown. It's the best job a girl can have. Highly recommend it. Thanks for watching my interview. If you wanna follow me on the socials, I'm at Diamond Song on Twitter and Instagram, and hope to see you there. Bye.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks. This is great.